Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United podcast. We're fresh off the back of tonight's bitterly disappointing 1-1 draw at Wolves. I'm your host, TC. Here's my co-host, Scott. Hello, bud.
Hello, pal.
On today's show, we give our instant reaction to the game at Molineux. Scott, we really should have won that, shouldn't we, bud?
Yeah, we really should have. It's reminiscent of last year's result. And I think at the end, we sort of got to be happy that we left with a point.
Unfortunately, yeah. Just to fill people in, we took the lead through Anthony Martial, and then we got pegged back by a Ruben Neves curler in off the bar from outside the box. And then a late penalty was missed, saved by Rui Patricio from Paul Pogba. But really, I mean, when you look at the game, we had almost double the possession in terms of passes that Wolves had.
Yeah.
We're gaining that possession. What went wrong, mate? It seemed like first half we were in control, we were cruising. Second half we seemed to come out and it just all seemed a bit different.
Well, I think that first half they were playing with three at the back and we were able to swarm on their defence. Really great pressing. Didn't really let them out of their own half for the first half. And they changed it. They brought on Adama Traore for a defender and were able to just link up a bit better. And I don't know, they just played much better second half. But we really should have tried to wrap the game up in the first half.
Yeah, we should. The first 15 minutes was pretty tight, tit for tat, really.
Yeah,
we certainly had the better of the play, but it wasn't night and day. The first sort of real talking point was on the 25th minute, I guess, when Daniel James got booked for diving. What do you make of that, mate? I thought he got clipped.
I thought it was pretty ridiculous. I thought the referee had a pretty terrible game all round, mate.
He was ghastly, Scott, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I mean, look, let's have a look at this. Wolves, they've made, what was it? I think 19 fouls, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been booked twice, and we've made 8 fouls and we've booked twice. One of the bookings was Daniel James, booked for diving, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka booked for handball when it seemed like it hit chest to me.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Put it this way, if that part of his body was offside on a VAR, he'd be given offside, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the wrong way round.
Yeah.
So both the bookings were dodgy. And then a couple of minutes later, Luke Shaw burst into the box, back to Martial. Martial fires it into the roof of the net. 1-0 up. Martial, we both had him as a scorer on the Friday pod too, mate.
Yeah, really nice team goal. Great movement off the ball. Good assist from Marcus Rashford. Was really happy with that. And it was what we deserved at that point of the game.
It was. And it was a superb finish from Martial. Roof of the net, no chance for Rui Patricio. 2-2 for Martial.
Yeah, let's really hope he can kick on from here. And I have high hopes he might be able to hit 20 goals this season, pal.
Yeah, I do too. What did you make of our attack? As we predicted on the Friday pod, we did line up pretty much the same as Chelsea, just with the one change, as we suggested might happen. So we were De Gea in goal, Skipper again, Wan-Bissaka on the right, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw on the left, Pogba and McTominay, Lingard in front of them, Martial, Rashford, and then on the right, as we said, James came in for Pereira. What did you make of the front four? Obviously went for fluidity, went for pace. It worked for a while, but when we lost our foothold in the game, it became very disjointed, didn't it, Scott?
It did. I think that we tired a lot in the second half. I think that we also just became a little bit flat. The pockets of space that we were finding in the first half weren't there anymore. And if anything, we were a little bit predictable.
Yeah, we were a bit, weren't we? I thought at the back, Lindelof and Maguire, even in the times when we were under pressure, when we were looking stretched, they were superb in terms of their positioning.
Yeah.
We've seen for so long now, for 6 years, one centre-back goes and the other one doesn't support him in terms of his positioning. Today, I was seeing Lindelof go out of position, Maguire slip into the middle, cover him, and vice versa. It was a really, really positive sign out of a night where, I'll be honest with you, Scott, I'm bitterly disappointed tonight.
Yeah, I think that the game was actually pretty similar to last year, that we took the lead, were controlling the game, then we conceded and everything sort of just started to fall apart. And I think that if we didn't have Maguire and Wan-Bissaka back there and also Lindelof playing as well as he did, we wouldn't have come away with anything from that game.
Yeah, there was definitely a tougher nature to our team today. There was a tougher nature. Look, I'm not particularly happy with them. I'm not particularly happy with the result and a few events in the match. But they're certainly tougher. I'll give them that. I mean, it's not too much of a competition compared to the end of last season. I mean, for a team to be tougher than that team is not hard at all. But they are tougher. I'll give them that.
No, but you remember when Mourinho was the manager and we went on that mad run, we didn't lose for 7 or 8 months, and we just became a really difficult team to break down, a difficult team to beat.
Yeah.
And I know we didn't win as many games as we would have liked to in that time, but we didn't lose any, and we just became a really difficult team to beat.
You're right. You're right. And, you know, it's all about when you move on to a new manager, a new style of play, it's all about keeping some of the styles of play, some of the patterns of play that you've picked up from previous managers.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want all of Mourinho's work to go down the Kazi.
Mm-mm.
And Mourinho's a blooming brilliant manager. He's a brilliant organiser of a football team. And if we can carry on some of his good bits and add them on to Ollie's good bits, that's got to be better than just blooming throwing the baby out with the bathwater, surely.
Absolutely, pal. Absolutely.
Yeah. As you say, mate, we came out second half and it did look like the game had changed. On 54 minutes, we had a bit of a scare. Jimenez hit the post, came back, hit Dave, almost went in, didn't it? It looked like it was, I thought it was in.
Yeah, I don't think you can get much closer than that.
You really can't. But the shame is, mate, it was just 1 minute later when Ruben Neves struck. He was unmarked on the edge of the box. And if there's one player who you don't want to shoot for Wolves from outside of the box, who is it?
Yeah, him.
It's Ruben Neves. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. So why is he on the edge of the box?
It wasn't as though it was a cross that had been cleared by us that fell to him. He was picked out by his own man. It was you got to say it was a well run corner routine, but it was definitely a preventable goal, pal.
It was preventable, and it did go to VAR, Scott, and they lined it up. And very swiftly seemed to just be like, that's fine. So can I ask you a question? Where does the arm finish and the shoulder start? Just a sort of anatomical question to begin with. Where's the line?
I don't know, pal. I really don't.
Is it the same on every human? Or, honestly, where is the line?
I don't know, because a few minutes later, Martial got trigged for offside and he didn't seem like he was...
And he wasn't off... Oh, come on. It's nonsense, mate. It's absolutely nonsense.
And then Wan-Bissaka gets booked for handball when it hits clear as day, hits his shoulder.
Yeah. This is the thing, Scott. I said this when VAR came out, and VAR it's either got to be totally precise or they got to get rid of it. You know, and now we're seeing, I said this, it takes too long for everything to be perfect. And so you could see with it, they didn't want to disallow it, did they? It was a cracker, 25-yarder. They were like, okay, line it up. No. Is it close? Yeah, it's close. Oh, no, it's given. Come on. I'm sure City goal the other day, they took longer. They did.
Yeah. As much as I didn't want it to be given, I don't think it was offside, to be perfectly honest with you.
I do. I do think it was offside. I think he... Yeah. I think so. But I wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would.
We only had to wait another 8 minutes, mate. Paul Pogba burst into the box. He didn't do much in the second half, to be fair. He was one of the ones that went missing, unfortunately. He won the penalty. It was given. No need for VAR. Pogba stepped up to take the penalty, and Rui Patricio saved it. I'll tell you straight away now, Scott. Paul Pogba's got to be dragged off penalties and never allowed on them ever again. It's blooming ridiculous, mate. How many penalties has he missed in the last blooming year and a half?
That was his fourth.
It's mental, man. Honestly, it's too many.
Yeah, it was a perfect height for him to save, wasn't it?
It was an awful penalty, and he's taking the penalties so we can make him happy. He's not taking the penalties because he's the best penalty taker. Because he's not the best penalty taker. It's quite obvious. It needs to stop, mate. It needs to stop now. I don't want him taking any more penalties because he's not very good at them.
Yeah, but I think it was what we were saying last week, that we're just trying to switch it up a little bit, and it was very clear. Rashford went up to him and said, do you want to take it? And he said, yep, I'll take it. And yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, no, I know, but we're not in the under-10s now, are we?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you can take it because you're my mate, or you can take it because you need cheering up, or whatever it is. We're playing the Premier League, it's 1-1. Our rivals have dropped points at the weekend. It's a real chance for us to push ahead of a few people we didn't expect to be ahead of at this stage of the season. You never know how valuable those points will be as the season goes by. You get a penalty after leading the game and then conceding, 8 minutes earlier. You can't go missing them like that, mate. You just can't. And then for the rest of the match, he's half trying to rescue the game and half sulking.
Yeah, it was a recipe for disaster, wasn't it? He did really well to win it. That might have played something into the fact that he took it. If anything, if any positive we can take of it, he did try and make up for it. He did look bitterly disappointed from missing it. And I think that if he wasn't committed to us, he wouldn't have looked as disappointed as he did.
Maybe. For me, you don't go around handing in verbal transfer requests all summer and then mess up our second game of the season. Simple as that. I don't care. Maybe it's not right. I know he didn't miss it on purpose. But the truth is he's messed our summer up. And now we're going to have to put up with this penalty nonsense again. And to be honest with you, really, again, Pogba today, for the skills he has, for the arsenal of weapons he has, I didn't think he was up to standard, really.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't one of the worst players on the pitch, But when you have so much expectations on you and then you miss a penalty, you're obviously going to get criticised as much as he is.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, mate. And like you say, yeah, sure, he did make some kind of sort of effort. It looked like he was annoyed, but it was the same mopey heads, unfortunately, after the penalty miss, not just from Pogba. Martial's mopey head came back a little bit. There were a few people who didn't seem as interested in getting on the ball as they were earlier on. It was a little bit of a worrying sign, I'd say, that the last half hour kind of just slipped away.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. But I think that in the second half, before we got the penalty, we just looked completely derailed. It's the same thing as last year, conceding just threw everything out the window.
Yep.
And we had our backs to the wall for a good 15, 20 minutes. And if anything, we were lucky to come away with a point.
Yeah, and let's remember that's the first. I mean, we conceded one in pre-season, right?
Yeah,
a couple. One, and then this is the first one we've conceded. So we haven't seen how we react to going behind since the end of last season. That was the big problem. It wasn't awful. The reaction wasn't awful, but it had threads of the way they reacted last season to goals, I thought.
No, and I think that, in a few days when the dust settles, we're going to turn around, and it's still obviously the 3 points were there to win, but we did get a point from it. It's not the end of the world. It's not like the same fixture last year when we sort of threw it away in the last 5 minutes. So at the end of the day, it's a good point, but it's really tough to throw two away like that.
Yeah. To me, as Manchester United, it's not a good point. I think we had the lion's share of the game. We played 632 passes to their 347. We had 87% pass success rate. They had 75. 9 shots to 6. 2 each on target, 6 corners to 4 in our favour. As I said, they made 17 fouls to our 8 and 2 yellow cards each. We had the lion's share, mate. We're Manchester United. Like you said on the Friday pod, come on, TC. We've got a better team than them. Don't go comparing their midfield with our midfield. Yeah, we've got to be converting that to a win, because we will play badly one week and we will drop points. So when you play all right and dominate the possession, dominate the game, have a penalty to win it, you've got to be taking the 3 points home. You just can't bleed points like that throughout the season, Scott. You really can't.
No, you can't. You can't.
And the worry is, mate, is that we didn't invest as we wanted to in the summer. We didn't go the way we wanted to, and now we're supporting Ollie. We're saying, right, we're going with what we've got. But if what we've got is going to give us the same results as what we had last season gave us, then we're going to have a problem, aren't we?
We are, and I think that there is a serious lack of creativity in that number 10 position. Jesse Lingard was pretty good in the first half, but again, tired really, really quickly.
He did.
Had a couple of chances. He missed that volley in the first 5-10 minutes of the second half. And then Juan Mata came on. He only had 10 minutes to do anything, but was pretty inconspicuous. Didn't really do anything. I don't know what Luke Shaw's doing on corners. I think they're just trying to find someone who can get it past the first man. Because if anything, we had a corner the last 5 minutes and Mata was taking it, and I'm thinking, okay, here's our chance here to steal the points at the death, and didn't get past the first man again.
I know. And when Mata was being ready to come on, it wasn't exactly, as a United fan, you want to be excited when a sub's warming up, don't you? You want to be like, oh my God, this is gonna change the dynamic here. Mm-hmm. When Mata was warming up, I wasn't thinking that at all. I was thinking, yeah, sure, that's if anything, it's just because the guy he's replacing is tired.
Yeah, you might be right. I think, as we saw last game, Daniel James is the best substitute you can pretty much bring on, given how much pace he has and how direct he is in his play. So maybe we should try and go down that road again.
Yeah, and again on the bench, just let's touch on this. Ollie again went for Tuanzebe, didn't he, on the bench? So he went for Romero.
Yeah, no Smalling, no Jones.
No, so he went for Romero, Mata, Pereira, Young, Mason Greenwood, Matic, and Axel Tuanzebe.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I do like giving the youngsters that spot. It's interesting throughout the season, though. Smalling and Jones, are they just going to be put out to pasture or what? Because then I can't imagine they'll be sold abroad.
I'm not sure. I think Rojo's on his way to Fenerbahce, isn't he?
Looks like it.
But yeah, it's interesting. And no Fred either.
No Fred at all. No, not at all. So, mate, I mean, do I have to ask for a man of the match for you out of that?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I think Maguire was pretty good again, but I think it's just because we're used to having such rubbish back there that you bring in someone who's half decent and we're all over it. Yeah. I thought Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James were pretty good on the right.
Yeah.
If I was to have to give one of them, I'd maybe give it to Wan-Bissaka.
Fair enough. And didn't do so badly. What was your score prediction this week? 2-1?
I think it was 2-1, wasn't it? Or 2-0?
But you had Martial and Rashford, so you got Martial, right?
I got half
I
right.
had Martial as well. I also had Paul Pogba, didn't I?
Yeah.
Actually, the reason why I chose Paul Pogba is because on the Friday pod, remember we were talking about John Moss and his hat-trick of penalties in a row, refereeing United, and this is 4 in a row now.
Yeah.
So, we did a penalty alert on Friday. I was like, right, he's going to give a penalty. Pogba's going to take it. I'll have Martial, I'll have Pogba, and I'll have Maguire. Unfortunately, Pogba didn't do his job. But at least we're on the ball a little bit, buddy.
Yeah. And if Rashford had been given the penalty, then I could have had a better chance at getting my prediction correct.
Well, you've been spot on, wouldn't you? 2-1 Martial and Rashford. You've been blooming crowing from the rooftops, and I would have been saying you'd been safe again. Safe and right. So, yes, mate. So, look, it feels like a massive opportunity missed to me. It really does. What do you think, mate? How do you think we're going to react to this? We've got a sort of 5-day turnaround. Look, we're just fresh off the back of it. The match is just literally finished now. What do you think, mate? How are we going to react to this? We need to bounce back. We can't go down a black hole like we did last season.
If anything, I think we could maybe take more risks. I think that we looked like we were playing it safe for a lot of the time, playing with the 2 holding midfielders, especially in the first half when we were absolutely all over them. If anything, we could have maybe switched it around and moved Martial and Rashford up top together. I thought that giving Mason Greenwood 2 minutes to come on or giving the attacker that we have on the bench 2 minutes to come on and try and do something is pretty ridiculous. If anything, we should have brought him on 10, 15 minutes to go. Or maybe even just give him a start. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, what I will say, Scott, is that, it's a good point. Is that because we don't have attacking options, or is it because he liked the options that were on the field? Because at the moment, who do we have injured? No one, right? We've got no one.
No one.
So when you look at that bench, is that our bench for the season then? Mata, Pereira, Young, Greenwood, Matic, Tuanzebe?
Yeah, probably.
Because what Sanchez is looking like, he's Gazzetta dello Sport saying Sanchez is off to Inter.
Yeah, done deal.
On a loan. Yeah. On a loan. We're going to play 50% of the wages, so you can stop them in praising us, Scott. He's booked the number 7 shirt, apparently. Good luck to you, buddy.
You know what, though? I mean, that might be worth just getting the stink out the dressing room.
Yes. No, I do agree. It seems to have run its course, Scott. But look at that bench. And what you're saying to me now and what I'm saying when Mata got warmed up, we don't have ammo on the bench. And if you don't have ammo on the bench, unless you start someone instead of James, and then we've got ammo on the bench, one injury here, Scott, and the squad is mirroring what we said at the end of the transfer window, unfortunately. And it doesn't look as deep as it should.
Yeah. Angel Gomez was there today. He just didn't make the bench. But I think he's one that needs to be a permanent fixture on that bench because he does offer something when he comes on. Tahith Chong as well could maybe find his way on there every so often, given that they're both not able to play for the under-23s anyway. So it's a bit of a conundrum, pal. I think that Juan Mata is a great player to bring on when you're 2-1 up or 3-1 up. But when you're chasing a game, it's not the best sub to make.
No. The bench looked like a bench of a squad that's just sold their most expensive striker. I mean, come on, you can't tell me that it wouldn't have been a good option to bring on Lukaku at the end there.
No, you're probably right.
And this is the thing, mate. It's a weird way we're going about this. It's almost like we've got rid of people, and then we're hoping that people will step up. And if they don't step up, I presume we'll replace Lukaku sort of in January or then next year. But like I said to you, Scott, he's our top scorer over the last couple of years. We've sold him, and if we bring Greenwood on for 2 minutes, that's hardly an endorsement of the fact that Greenwood's going to step into Lukaku's shoes. It does seems a bit silly, Scott. It really does. It seems like we've sold some of the people we wanted to sell, but if you're not replacing them, then it seems bizarre. It seems bizarre.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, Ollie knows a striker when he sees him and sees that Martial is a much better striker than he is a left winger, and maybe with Lukaku anywhere near the squad, he wasn't going to get the look in that he felt he deserved. I think you're right. I think we definitely could have replaced or brought some more talent in up front, but I think, a lot of hopes are resting on Mason Greenwood's shoulders, but when you're only giving him 2 minutes to come on and do something, it's impossible, pal.
Yeah. No, I'm not digging out Mason. I love Mason Greenwood. I think he's fantastic, but he's 17 years old. Well, Ollie's given him 2 minutes today when we desperately need the goals.
Well, you look at Ollie Solskjaer being the best substitute we had in our history, but Fergie would at least give him 15, 20 minutes to come on and try and do something.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just bring him on with 5 minutes to go and expect anything.
No, and that's what I'm saying, Scott. If he had Lukaku on the bench tonight, I believe he would have brought him on before 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And so that's my point. I'm saying that even Ollie would have thought that Lukaku was a better option. Because he did. He did bring in Lukaku earlier, last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And again, the midfield, I know I flagged it up on the Friday pod. I know you told me to chill out. But the truth is, mate, is that we've sold Fellaini and we sold Herrera, or they're both gone. Herrera could have played instead of Lingard. Pogba could have been free. And again, if Ollie had Fellaini on the bench, he would have brought him on at some stage before he brought the other subs on. So we sold 2 people who were better options today than the 2 people we brought on. It is the truth, Scott. It is.
You're right.
It is, man. I mean,
Right.
I can't turn away from it. And look, it's a long-term plan. I'm not digging out Ollie. It's a long-term plan. I know some of these players have got a higher ceiling than a Fellaini and that they can reach a higher level. We have to give them that chance. But there has to be a balance. And if we're bleeding points, then I don't think the balance is right.
You're right. And I think Jesse Lingard's a good sub to bring on as well. Brings on, energy, tracking back, pressing from the front. But to be able to start him every game isn't what a world-class team's going to do,
No. And you're right. Lingard is a great person to bring on. Daniel James is a great person to bring on. But the problem is that Lingard, in terms of the style of play Ollie's looking at, is a better starter than Mata.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny James, for the style of play that Ollie's looking to play in an away game, is a better starter than Pereira.
Yeah.
My point is, Scott, is that Mata and Pereira are awful people to bring on. So that's the conundrum. I agree with you, but then because of our squad structure, the squad dynamic, once we start with the speedy players, bringing on Mata and Pereira is pretty much, bring them on for set pieces. And you've told me what happened with the Mata corner earlier already, haven't you?
If anything, I would give Andreas Pereira a good run at playing number 10 from the start and see what he can bring.
Yeah, but like you just said, is that what a world-class team does, Scott?
No, but I think now we just, the transfer window's closed, which again, ridiculous, because I think the first few games of the season as well is when you learn a lot about your team that you don't necessarily know in pre-season when you're playing half-fit teams or playing Perth Glory or Leeds United.
Yeah.
And if we had another 10 days to be able to buy number 10 or do something, it would benefit us hugely.
Yeah. Gareth Bale's looking pretty decent now, mate. He is. It makes me laugh, all these people who said, we don't need Gareth Bale, we need to pick the youngsters, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, you should see him. He looks like he's ready for this season big time. He's going to blooming tear it up. And we're all going to be like, actually, maybe we should have got him. Mental stuff, really, mate. Honestly, I tell you. As you can tell, I'm pretty annoyed at tonight, mate. We had a lovely opportunity, and this is just like the end of last season. Remember last season, you'd see the results drop off and your eyes would light up and you say, God, yeah, this is it. We're back in the race. We're back in here. Same thing over the weekend. We had Chelsea dropping points. We had City dropping points. We had Spurs dropping points. We had points dropped all over the place. And we had a chance. We could have gone top tonight.
Yeah.
A win would have put us top.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of opportunity we take. We go top. The away fans are saying we are top of the league, joking around, messing about like the old days. And we've got a bit of momentum. But again, the worry is, Scott, is that we're being led by the different things that happen in the game that lead the team in different directions. And like we said, whenever everything was going smoothly, we were fine, no problems. They hit the post, they scored the goal, and it was back to last season again. And this is the worry, Scott. We can't sleepwalk through this season like we did last. We need to progress. And it seems like more of the same, mate. It does. I know there's more fight.
Yeah, you're right, pal.
It's still a bit raw anyway, pal. Let's wrap it up and assess the lie of the land later in the week. Remember to subscribe on your favourite podcast app. Our 100% United is available on Spotify, iTunes, and loads of other podcast apps too. We'll be back later in the week. Keep your heads high, Reds. Thanks for listening. Cheers for joining me, Scott.
Thank you, pal.
Cheerio.
Ta-ra.